Hello everyone, Tom from Snickety here. 100 subscribers, eh? Oh wow, 150. Yeah, it took me a long time to get around to this video. As I promised a few months back, we'll be taking a look at a video game that I made. You're excited, aren't you? I know you're excited because you've seen the title of this video. The Hoff versus Hitler. Germany's biggest guilty pleasure, David Hasselhoff, versus Germany's biggest old shame. The two finally throw hands in a battle across time and space. Oh, and I'd just like to throw this out there. I did it before Kung Fury. I did it before it was cool. I made this back in 2008 with the help of my brother, using some neat software called Multimedia Fusion 2. Multimedia Fusion 2 was a 2D drag-and-drop game creator that was actually really easy to use, yet hard to master. My skills were sharp when this was made. It was my magnum opus. Many would be disappointed to peak so early in their careers, but I feel it was a blessing in disguise. A sign that I had accomplished everything I could with the art form, and that my calling was elsewhere. Not video game development, but rambling about them on YouTube. If I would have continued making games, it would have surely been downhill from here, I'm afraid. Ah, my assistant. Did you find my masterpiece? Excellent! Show the good people what they've been waiting for. It's been almost 10 years, so you'll have to forgive my sloppy playing, and less than stellar memory of the game. I don't recall what this does.
You fat, bloated idiots! Wait a minute, I got it. You could play with your magic nose goblin.
What? This game has 3 difficulties: Hard, Hoff Hard, and Hitler Hard, which you have to beat the game to unlock. There is no medium or easy. Forget about Dark Souls, forget about Demon Souls. This was the original hard as nails gaming experience. The first stage has us playing as Hasselhoff in Nazi Germany. Look at these backgrounds. It just cannot be mistaken for anything else. This game has pretty basic controls really. You walk with the arrow keys, fire with the spacebar, and jump with shift. It's slightly more awkward than I remember. But anyway, the first order of business is to gun down these Nazis. Multimedia Fusion 2 didn't have any Nazi enemies, alright. But before that you have to jump over these spikes. A jump you can't actually make in a single bound. But I've got you covered. The window ledge in the background is actually a platform. What might seem like a jarring first platform is actually a very important lesson. It's telling you, trust in the game design. It has your back.
I like how you can jump again when you're already in the air.
So what almost every stage boils down to is move to the right and kill everything that stands in the Hoff's way, using his life preserver thing which fires projectiles. Don't ask me how. You also fight a boss at the end of every stage. The first boss, Mecha Hitler, is actually really easy. You just jump and shoot him in the face. Oh, and whenever you beat a stage, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony plays. A fitting piece of music, if I say so myself. Shh! Sachi! I'm listening to the music. Alright, so where was I again? Okay, so the next stage is Green Hill Zone. That's right. The Hoff vs Hitler is also a send-up to the video game medium as a whole. There are many illegal cameos in this game. Admittedly, I don't know how much of this game is legally mine, if any at all. But anyway, in this stage you make your first encounter with a hard-as-nails enemy called the Axeman. They're invincible and are a one-hit kill. The one way to defeat them is to lure them to their only weakness, the anti-Axeman box. It's such a specific weakness, it has you questioning why it even exists, and why it is situated so close to these enemies. A commentary on the convenience of video game logic perhaps. I'll let you decide. If an artist has to explain his intentions, he has unfortunately failed as an artist. This first platform here has you using a dead Sonic to jump over these instant death spikes. He died trying to save his home from Nazi invasion. A true hero indeed, and a fitting end for the character. Oh, by the way, you collect beer to regain health, which I'm sure is a humorous reference to something I no longer remember. You might have noticed that it's incredibly hard not getting hit in this game. It's more about getting hit as little as possible as opposed to not getting hit at all. You can jump over enemy fire and fire back when you hit the ground, but you'll still get hit most of the time. It's not bad game design though, it's just my skills are not good enough to show the true nuance of the gameplay. As I mentioned, I haven't played it in a while, but getting back to Green Hill Zone, it ends with Hitler flying Dr. Robotnik's flying machine. Pretty simple boss really, just fire when he gets low to the ground. Now, the next stage is a little different. You play as Kit instead of the Hoff. That's right, the Hoff's greatest allies in this game too. Kit stages are a little bigger and usually have deadlier enemies. It's okay though, because Kit comes equipped with rockets. This stage is Germany by the way. Not Nazi Germany though, just regular Germany. You can tell it's Germany because there are men bathing in the streets, people fishing on solid gravel, ninjas on roofs, skeletons hanging from churches, castles, wells in the middle of the road blocking cars. Not one but two Big Bens, Elvis dancing on what is presumably meant to be the Berlin Wall, guillotines on the side of the road. What is going on here? That little girl is playing on a swing, with someone in armor watching them. There's no way this isn't sinister in nature. What the fuck was I thinking when I did this thing? Anyway, look at this cool parallax scrolling. I was pretty chuffed with myself when I figured out how to do this. I may have gotten a little carried away with myself in that cow though.
Hi, Thomas.
Did you hear that? The cow spoke to me. I never programmed it to do that. The Knight Rider theme is playing for this entire stage by the way, which you can't hear because it will get this video flagged. The boss in this stage is a Nazi jet. It's pretty hard because it fires these missiles at you which do
massive damage.
You should try to avoid these and just soak up the damage from the regular machine gun. Otherwise the Nazi jet has very little health, so it shouldn't give you too much trouble. Ah, the health is called Repair Kit. Get it? That's pretty clever actually. The next stage has the Hoff in Italy, which the intro card informs us are allied with the Nazis. Historically accurate. But it's actually the Mushroom Kingdom. That's right, Mario is on the side of the Nazis. He's gone full fascist. Those damn Italians. Anyway, Mario is a pretty tough enemy, as it's impossible to kill him without getting hit yourself about 20 times. The beginning of this stage informs us to watch out for Goombas, they have AIDS. This is a warning you should take seriously because if you so much as touch a Goomba, you'll be HIV positive, and your health will continually drain away. You might think this is making light of AIDS, but that's ignoring the biting satire here. It's making fun of the era the first Super Mario Bros. Is from, a time where AIDS jokes were thrown around like it was no big deal.
Find with their gay friend and give him a little kiss and go home with their AIDS on their lips.
It is quite obviously that. And not because I was 14 when I made this. But anyway, the boss for this stage is Hitler riding on the back of Bowser. He's able to kill you in one hit, so you have to make sure to keep him away with your bullets. But you also have to avoid getting hit by bullet bills and this Goomba. If you don't keep the pressure on him here, it's real easy for him to get you. Damn! Fuck! I managed to beat him with AIDS. How inspirational. We get to our first cutscene here, informing us that Hitler hired some of the deadliest forces known to man to stop the Hoff. That's right, it's Scorpion. He's aligned himself with the Nazis too. What a prick. The next stage is the super secret mega Nazi desert base, and this is the first stage where you will encounter the Predators as enemies. They're strong to regular Hoff fire, but fortunately Kit has your back on this one. The next Predator can be killed by slowing it down in the sand and hitting it with everything you have. And by sand I mean that solid block of colour on the ground. Probably the only graphics not lifted from something else. This stage also has those bullshit instant death spikes. Now that I think about it, this game has an awful lot of instant death traps. Kinda makes me seem like a hypocrite for the stuff I said in that Bullet Witch video, doesn't it? At this point you have to fight Smoke as a kind of mid-boss. It's pretty simple and there's not much chance of him actually killing you. When you first face him, you'll also see this sign which shows that the spikes have been turned off, letting you know it's safe to backtrack without worries. This game may be tough, but it's fair. So you arrive at Scorpion's not so subtle lair and do battle with him. This boss is a stage on its own, so you don't have to worry about going back to the beginning if you die. It's pathetically easy for the most part. It's made slightly difficult since it's impossible to jump over him without taking that uppercut damage. But yeah, you'll do this with ease. He's only really a threat on higher difficulties. Next is another Kit stage, Hitler's Torture Chamber. This is where the game goes from being tough to insanely hard. Okay, now the random guillotines make sense I guess. This one is made difficult by all these instant death spinning blades that you have to avoid. The boss is easily one of the weirdest in the game. It's the Doom guy, Nazi Ned, who will shoot you if you're in front of his gun. So how do you defeat him if he's in the foreground? It makes no goddamn sense. You have to shoot these explosive barrels when he's in front of them. This game just disregards perspective altogether. It's genius. Next, another Kit stage, Hitler's Doom Ship. Okay, admittedly, if you play through this stage fairly, it's almost impossible. You have enemies like these floating tanks which will just tear through your energy bar. Just fly to the top of the screen, keep moving, avoid everything and hope for the best. The boss is Hitler's Doom Ship, which is damn hard. It's a very Star Fox-esque boss. Okay, so first you have to destroy all 4 of these things on the front of his ship. After this, his spinning blade will fly forward, which can instantly kill you if you're not expecting it. Then you can finally chip away at his life bar by shooting the cockpit. Sounds simple enough, but these homing missiles will be the death of you. They do a lot of damage, so you have to make sure they explode on one side of the screen. If you don't, it'll blow your ass up from behind. You're also getting shot at, but it's best just to tank the damage. At this point, you'll be treated to a cutscene of the Doom Ship falling on the guy bathing in the middle of the road. That'll teach him to bathe in the middle of the road. But of course Hitler gets away in his stolen sprite, escape pod. The Hoffs recruited video games' greatest heroes to finally put an end to Hitler's tyrannical reign. Gilius, Tails, Ken, Mega Man, Earthworm Jim, Knuckles, Donkey Kong, and Cool Spot. Don't you dare say Cool Spot is the odd one out in that list, I will fight you in the comments section. It's time to storm the trenches, gentlemen. No holding back. If we fail here, the world, nay the universe, past, present and future, will fall to Nazism. This stage is brutal, man. You see that mud? If even a single pixel of it touches a Hoff, your fate is sealed. This gives you trench foot, which is far deadlier than the AIDS the Goombas give you. Oh boy, they wouldn't let me write that sentence in a censored gaming video, would they? Anyway, if you get trench foot, the stage becomes impossible. I do really like these sniper enemies that you have to trick by jumping, and having Ken take a bullet to the face is a clever way to establish what it is. Just look at this beautiful dodging. You see, this game isn't entirely bullshit. You can avoid getting shot. Except for here, which I'm pretty sure is impossible without getting shot. Now we get to the end stage boss, which is hard as balls as you might have guessed. It's Edward Hitlerhands. You have to hit the red parts on his body, which you can only do by getting him to raise his arm. You do this by jumping, which leaves you really vulnerable to fire. This one's really difficult because you have to hammer on that spacebar like your life depended on it. And he has 2 phases. Just when you think you beat him, he starts moving again with a full bar of health. It's much easier though, since his weak points aren't being guarded this time. Now we get to the final boss. The final battle against Hitler.
This is the final battle!
The titular Hoff versus Hitler promised by the title. The good news is that, similar to the Scorpion stage, it's a stage on its own, so dying doesn't set back your progress as far. The bad news? It's old school Nintendo hard. This is a final boss that could have only been devised by a masochist. Okay, so first of all, he has a lot of health, so it's something of an endurance. Hitler simply walks back and forth on screen, always firing his gun in your direction. He has 4 phases. The machine gun, which fires frequently but doesn't do a whole lot of damage. The grenade launcher, which does heavy damage but isn't nearly as frequent. The shotgun, which has a wide spread, meaning if you're far away there's no chance of jumping over it. And finally, the Gatling gun. The slowest yet most deadly of his weapons. If you're on the ground when he fires this thing, you are dead. There's no question about it. You can jump on top of his guns to avoid getting shot, but this also means you can't deal damage of your own. You also have to contend with these bombs that he throws too. Fortunately, there is a lot of health lying about, with more appearing each phase you finish. Now I just realised something kind of funny. Why are my boss fights way more creative and have more strategy to them than the majority of Western games? You also have 5 minutes before Hitler fires his giant nuke in the background. If you don't beat him within that time, that just means you get the bad ending, which we'll take a look at right now. If you get the good ending, you send Hitler back to his own time, where the time machine will promptly self-destruct. Good job preventing the Holocaust, Hoff. Wait a minute, what's to say he doesn't just build another one when he gets back? Anyway, the bad ending is where you beat Hitler, but the Hoff becomes a crack addict and has to sell kit. I'm showing you this stuff from the gallery mode because I wasn't good enough to beat the final boss. Alas, I fell to the Fuhrer's might. So, that is The Hoff vs Hitler, a game I made in 2008, I believe. A masterpiece, if you'll allow me to toot my own horn. If you like the look of it, you can play the game for yourself. There'll be a download link in the description. Enjoy! Anyway, I think we can safely say that this game would have been banned in Germany. How's that for censored gaming? I've been Snickety Slice, I'll see you next time. This is the dumbest video I've ever made.